Hello, parents. So today is October the 16th. This is our October the 16th um, teacher parent video. Today is the end of our first quarter. Pretty big day. Pretty big day because this is the last day of first quarter grades. I'm going to be spending part of this weekend um, finalizing quarter grades, and your students should know what they're going to have on their first quarter grade probably by Monday, maybe sooner, depending on how much time I dedicate to finalizing it on Saturday and Sunday. At the latest, it'll be by Tuesday. Starting next quarter, it's new beginnings. If your students performed well through the first quarter, I just want to see them continue the positive grades that they've been able to acquire. Whatever it is that you're telling them on your end to please continue to do so. Uh, and hopefully, whatever they did in the first quarter, they can either duplicate or even increase. If you found that your students um, had a difficult time in the first quarter, maybe it was because they needed to adjust to sixth grade. Maybe it was just simply learning from home and the oddness of our present situation threw them off. Maybe they just took a while to get going and they kind of put themselves into some level of a hole that they couldn't get out of. No matter what it may be, what's important is that we express to our students that with the start of the second quarter, you start off fresh. Everyone starts off with an opportunity to have straight A's. Even if you had all F's in the first quarter, the biggest thing is that our students understand that nothing that they did in the past they can change, but they can change where the direction that their past was taking them in. And that's what we want to put focus on going in next week, starting next week, because beginning the second quarter. I will be absent a few days next week on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. I normally don't like to miss work, but I'm going to be attending a funeral of a family member on Tuesday, and on Thursday and Friday, I will be going to a wedding. My best friend is getting married. So your students are going to be placed in um, other teachers' classes for those 3 days. On Monday, I will show the students a Zoom link that they will need to sign into on Tuesday. On Wednesday, I'll be back, but I'll reiterate the process of how they're supposed to get into those other classes. They will still be receiving instruction. All of the teachers are pretty much in the same place as far as what we're covering. So they won't miss out the opportunity to learn during those 3 days. Um, but let me apologize in advance if it seems confusing. Um, it's 2020, I guess. With that said, your students, we're getting that much closer to hopefully having them on campus. I definitely have both my fingers crossed, hoping that this second quarter is the last quarter that they're not physically here. And I can't wait for them to be here so we can really have a great time. But I am enjoying your students. I do want to mention something before I conclude this video. There are going to be some changes to how I do grades in the second quarter. Now that we've gotten through the first quarter and I've been able to kind of uh, analyze certain procedures that were in place. Cameras. I'm going to begin giving students a participation grade every day. They will receive points if they attend the Zoom session. They will receive even more points if they attend the Zoom session and they're engaged in the chat or they speak when called on. They receive the maximum amount of points for participation if they attend the Zoom session, they are engaged in the class, and their camera is on. Presently, we have about 10 students who it's kind of like pulling teeth to get them to turn their cameras on. And it's something that now I'm going to have to start to enforce a little stricter than I have been. Why? Here's why. I am an optimist, and I truly believe and hope that we will be back in school for at least the start of the third quarter. I want to know what your kids look like. I want to see their facial expressions. I want to be able to know them as much as I can. So when the first time I physically see them in my classroom, it doesn't feel like I'm looking at a stranger. I want to be able to make those connections with students. I do notice that there's a difference in regards to how frequently I will call a student, the way that I mention a student's name in a Zoom session based off of if I see their face or not. And I don't want your students to receive a shortchanged version of their learning experience where they don't ever feel like their teacher communicates with them. And I don't want to lie to you, parents, because I feel like if I lie to you once, I'm going to lie to you all the time. And no one respects that. And I'm not going to do that. I do make connections with things that I can visually see versus those that I can't. And some of your students having dark screens, it makes it a little more difficult for me to do that. And I want to build that bond with them like I have with those that I can see. With that said, if there is an issue with your student showing their face because maybe there's something going on in the background that they're just not comfortable with, what I ask from you is if you can contact me, speak to me, and kind of allow me to understand why they're not showing their face in the camera. And then I can work with them. Because I do understand that there's sometimes certain things are just, they don't allow for that to occur. But if I don't have a reason, I'm going to hold your students accountable to show their face. So I'm going to be implementing that and start a second quarter. The second thing, I am going to eliminate weighted scoring for grades. Now, when I give out an assignment, the point value that I attach to that assignment will dictate how important of an assignment it is. In language arts, in the first quarter, I had a writing grade, I had a classwork grade, I had an assessment grade. I found that I don't give enough assessments or enough writing to make for the grades to truly indicate how well a student has performed. I'm going to fix that in the second quarter because there's so much more classwork than there are tests. There's so much more classwork than there are true writing assignments. And I want to make sure that for every assignment that I do give to your students, the point value and the actual just value that it has an impact on their grade that is truly aligned with where it should be. So I'm telling you now, I apologize for the first quarter if students' grades are not as good as they should have been. It's totally an error. I wouldn't say it's an error. It was trying to figure it out with distant learning. But I think I figured it out, so I will be making an adjustment. And I did want to let you guys know. If I sound a little confusing and you want more understanding, just contact me and I'll try to meet up with you, and I will meet up with you and kind of discuss it in hopes that being able to clear up any confusion. But I am changing the grading process. Beyond that, I just hope that you guys have a wonderful weekend. And thank you. Mr. Wilson, signing out.